Marco Rubio's position on immigration has become a central issue in the election. And as always in this byplay of partisan politics, it's very hard to really get at the truth, and nobody articulates the full truth about it. So I wanted to kind of fill you in. When Rubio was elected to the Senate in 2010, immigration was an important issue, but not the decisive one. And Rubio was opposed to amnesty and took a traditional conservative position against illegal immigration. But after the election of 2012, in which Romney was defeated, losing 67% of the Latino vote, Republicans did an autopsy to examine why they lost the election. And a big part of that was their inability to win Latino votes. And that sparked a whole feeling among Republicans to compromise on this issue, get well with Latinos, and become competitive for Latino voters. And implicit in this was the belief that if the Republicans treated the Latino voters fairly, that they would treat the Republican Party fairly, and that there would be a genuine competition for that vote. And there was also a concern that if there was not that, the Latino vote would go the way of the African American vote and be solidly Democratic and ultimately undermine the chances of the Republicans ever to win another election. On the other side, the opponents of immigration reform said, don't delude yourselves. If you let 11 million people back into the country legally and ratify their legal status and let them vote, you'll never win another election because they'll all vote Democrat. That's why the Democrats want them to become citizens. Now, in the background of that, Rubio, along with John McCain, Jeff Flake of Arizona, and one other Republican, I forget who, joined 4 Democrats led by Chuck Schumer of New York into a compromise negotiation that lasted for months and months and ultimately produced the Gang of 8 immigration bill. And it provided that there would be strong efforts to secure the border, a dramatic increase in funding for border protection, and that when on the major crossing points over the border, 90% of those who tried to cross were apprehended, the border would then be deemed secure. And at that point, people who were here illegally could acquire legal status, in 10 years get citizenship, and 3 years after that, green cards in 10 years, and 3 years after that, be allowed to vote. But they would get amnesty immediately upon the certification that the border was secure. It also doubled and eventually would triple the number of high-skilled HB1 visas and a variety of other changes. In that environment, Rubio supported that bill. Ted Cruz opposed it, but his opposition was seen as kind of flaky because the bulk of the Republican establishment was backing Rubio's approach and grateful for it. Then also in the Gang of 8 was that Dreamers would automatically get citizenship and the right to vote in 5 years. Dreamers being the children of people who were illegal who were brought here when they were under 21. Then Obama issued executive orders immediately giving the Dreamers legal status, and contemplated, which he eventually did, issuing executive orders giving everybody who's here illegal legal status. And the result of that was a flood of immigrants from Central America to the Mexican border, children. And a real situation developed where they came into the country and completely changed the immigration debate. And now Americans came to believe massively that if you granted amnesty to any group of illegal immigrants, it would encourage massive new immigration and wouldn't solve your problem. It would just double and triple your problem. And in light, the public opinion moved to the right on the issue, particularly within the Republican Party, and the Rubio Gang of 8 bill came to be seen as a giveaway and as naive because it did not take account of the additional swell of illegal immigration, and Rubio's views fell out of fashion. For a while, he doggedly maintained the Gang of 8 bill, Then he moved away from it and said he no longer supported amnesty in view of the changed situation. Now he looks back at it and he says it was the best we could do at the time, and it was a bad bargain, but it was the best we could get away with, and that he's not sorry for it. So those are the facts. My opinion is that until the Republicans are able to capture a significant share of the Latino vote over issues other than immigration, and believe me, there are other issues, like values issues, where Latinos are increasingly Republican, and a Republican president with a good economy can move them back to the center. I think it would be suicide for the Republican Party to grant this kind of blanket amnesty. And I'm very suspicious that Rubio would do that, because I think he's inclined in that direction. And I'm much more confident that Cruz would not. So on that issue, I personally would give the edge to Cruz. But I wanted to give you the basic facts about this. Now, if you click on the link attached to this video, you can hear my podcast that I did yesterday, which is a full description of this race and really goes into depth on the race and drills down on the Democratic side of it. So much more than I can do in these short videos. So please click on the link attached to this video, or go to iTunes or to podcast1.com. Thanks for watching and listening.